Question 1. Given the circumstances, Maria needs to design a secure automated process for compute instances to interact with OSI object storage without embedding credentials in code. Which approach best satisfies this requirement while minimizing security risks? A. Assign a static API key to each instance. B. Use instance principals with dynamic group policies. C. Create a user for each instance and attach policies. D. Store user credentials in OSI Vault and retrieve them at runtime. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Instance principals allow an instance to directly call OSI services without managing long-lived credentials by placing the instance in a dynamic group and writing a policy granting necessary permissions. Automation is simplified and secure. Static API keys or per instance users increase operational overhead and credential exposure risks. Vault can secure credentials but still requires explicit retrieval, make less streamlined than native instance principal authentication. Question 2. The primary reason for configuring multiple subnets across different availability domains is to A. Reduce DNS resolution time for applications. B. Achieve higher availability and fault tolerance. C. Minimize routing complexity within a single subnet. D. Enable service gateway connectivity for all workloads. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Spreading subnets across availability domains ensures workloads can survive the failure of an ad, improving high availability and resilience. While DNS resolution time is unaffected, routing complexity isn't inherently tied to subnet count. Service gateways can be configured without cross-ad subnets, so their presence is not the core reason for multi-ad subnet design. The goal is redundancy and failure isolation. Question 3. In the modern context of cost control, David wants to ensure that developers can provision resources in OSI but cannot exceed a predefined monthly spending threshold. Which feature should be implemented? A. Quotas. B. Budgets with alerts. C. Compartments with IAM restrictions. D. Tagging with cost tracking policies. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Budgets with alerts actively monitor spending and send notifications when usage nears or exceeds set limits, enabling proactive cost management. Quotas restrict resource counts but do not track costs directly. IAM restrictions can limit access but not enforce budget constraints. Tagging aids in cost attribution but without alerts cannot prevent budget overruns in real time. Question 4. When faced with a requirement to connect an on-premises data center to OSI for high bandwidth, low latency workloads, which option is most appropriate? A. Site-to-site VPN. B. Remote vSAN peering. C. Fast Connect. D. NAT gateway. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Fast Connect provides a dedicated private network connection to OSI with higher bandwidth and lower latency than VPNs, ideal for demanding workloads. Site-to-site VPN is encrypted but runs over the public internet, introducing latency. Remote vCN peering is for connecting VCNs across regions, not on-prem to OSI. NAT gateway serve private subnet outbound internet access for direct on-prem connectivity. Question 5. Considering the evidence, Prea's application in OSI needs to access autonomous database privately without exposing traffic to the public internet. Which solution should she implement? A. Configure service gateway. B. Use an internet gateway. C. Implement VCN local peering. D. Deploy NAT gateway. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A service gateway enables private access to OSI public services, including autonomous database endpoints, without internet traversal. Internet gateways expose resources to public internet, violating the privacy requirement. VCN local peering connect VCNs in the same region, not public services. NAT gateways allow private subnets outbound internet connections, which is unnecessary for private service access. Question 6. Through careful analysis of IAM security posture, an architect discovers that several compute instances require access to both object storage and autonomous database. Which design is most secure and operationally efficient? A. Assign separate dynamic groups for each resource type. B. Create one dynamic group and A single consolidated policy. C. Use individual API keys stored on each instance. D. Create local users for each instance with specific policies. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A single dynamic group representing the relevant instances combined with a consolidated policy granting both object storage and autonomous database access simplifies management and reduces policy sprawl. Multiple dynamic groups for the same instances are unnecessary API keys increase credential management burden. Local users per instance are operationally complex and violate best practices. Centralize them. Question 7. In response to a compliance audit, Liam needs to demonstrate all API activities related to compute instance termination in the last 90 days. Which service should he use? A. Monitoring service. B. Audit service. C. Logging service. D. CloudGuard. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The audit service records all API calls, including instance termination events with timestamps and user information, making it the authoritative source for compliance evidence. Monitoring collects performance metrics, non-API actions. Logging can capture application or OS logs, but not all API calls. CloudGuard detects and responds to security threats, but is not a historical audit log system. Question 8. From multiple perspectives, deploying a load balancer with multiple backend sets in OSI primarily serves to A. Reduce latency by using NAT gateway optimizations. B. Distribute traffic for different applications or tiers. C. Enable site-to-site VPN failover. D. Increase EM policy granularity for each backend. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Multiple backend sets allow a single load balancer to distribute traffic among different applications or application tiers, enhancing architecture flexibility. NAT gateways are unrelated to load balancing. Site-to-site VPN failover is a network connectivity concern, not load balancing. IAM policy granularity is not managed via load balancer backend sets, but through IAM directly. Question 9. By evaluating network isolation strategies, Emma is tasked with segmenting workloads by environment, dev, test, prod within OSI while keeping them in a single tenancy. What's the most effective OSI feature to achieve this? A. Separate regions. B. Compartments. C. Network security groups. D. Availability domains. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Compartments provide logical isolation within a tenancy is supporting separate IAM policies and billing segmentation. Regions separate physical locations, not environments. SEDS apply to instance-level network security, not tenancy-wide workload organization. Availability domains provide fault tolerance within a region but don't inherently segment workloads administratively. Question 10. Under the assumption that the customer needs to ensure object data and OSI is protected against accidental deletion and overwriting, which feature should be enabled? A. Object storage versioning. B. Service gateway. C. Block volume backups. D. Autonomous database data guard. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Enabling object storage versioning preserves previous object versions, allowing recovery from accidental deletion or overwrite. Service gateways relate to private service access, not data protection. Block volume backups apply to block storage, not object storage. Data guard is for database replication, not object storage resiliency. Question 11. When analyzing a workload migration plan, Sophia wants to ensure compute instances can securely connect to both object storage and file storage without exposing any credentials in the code or configuration files. What's the best approach? A. Use instance principles combined with single dynamic group and unified policy. B. Store OSI user API keys in object storage with encryption. C. Configure IAM users for each instance with resource-specific policies. D. Create separate dynamic groups for object storage and file storage. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Instance principles with a unified dynamic group and consolidated policy allow instances to access multiple services without static credentials, simplifying management and reducing exposure risks. Storing API keys in object storage risks credential leakage. For instance, IAM users add operational complexity. Separate dynamic groups for the same set of instances cause unnecessary policy duplication. Question 12. In light of recent developments, an enterprise's OSI security review revealed that developers have overly broad permissions across multiple compartments. Which action best addresses the principle of least privilege? A. Merge all compartments into one and apply global policy. Audit existing IAM policies and refine them to grant only required actions per group. C. Assign all users read-only policies for all compartments. D. Create dynamic groups for developers and apply blanket write permissions. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Reviewing and refining IAM policies to match actual job functions enforces the principle of least privilege while retaining necessary access. Merging compartments reduces isolation. Assigning read-only to all developers may block necessary work. Blanket write permissions undermine security by granting more access than required. Question 13. From a practical standpoint, Rahul needs to connect a private subnet in OSI to the internet for outbound connections while ensuring no inbound traffic is allowed. Which solution is correct? A. Use an internet gateway with route rules. B. Implement vSAN local peering. C. Deploy a NAT gateway. D. Use a service gateway with DNS forwarding. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. NAT gateways allow private subnet instances to initiate outbound connections without exposing them to inbound internet traffic, meeting the security requirement. Internet gateways enable both inbound and outbound public traffic, violating the restriction. vSAN local peering connects vSANs, not internet. Service gateways enable private access to OSI services, not general internet. Question 14. Throughout the course of capacity planning, Olivia determines that a database application must span multiple regions for disaster recovery while maintaining synchronization. Which feature best fits? A. Autonomous database auto-scaling. B. High availability within fault domains. C. Fast connect with redundant circuits. D. Data guard between regions. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Data guard provides replication between primary and standby databases across regions, supporting disaster recovery with near real-time synchronization. Autoscaling adjusts compute power unrelated to octa-fault domains at intra-region redundancy only. Fast Connect improves connectivity but does not handle database replication. Question 15. Illustrated by a recent compliance test, Malik's organization must ensure that object data cannot be permanently deleted for regulatory retention period. Which feature should be implemented? A. Object storage versioning. B. Block volume clone policies. C. Object storage retention rules. D. Archive storage tiering. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Object storage retention rules enforce immutability for a defined time, ensuring compliance by preventing deletion or modification. Versioning tracks changes but doesn't guarantee retention enforcement. Block volume cloning is unrelated to object storage compliance. Archive tiering changes storage cost availability but doesn't control deletion rights. Question 16. By evaluating OSI network design options, Ethan must enable two VCNs in the same region to communicate using private IPs without traversing the internet. What should be used? A. Local VCN peering. B. Remote VCN peering. C. Internet gateway with security lists. D. Site-to-site VPN. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Local VCN peering enables direct private IP communication between VCNs in the same region without internet routing. Remote VCN peering is for cross-region communication. Internet gateways send traffic over the public internet, violating the requirement. Site-to-site VPN is for on-premises to OSI connectivity. Question 17. When evaluating the merits of OSI connectivity, a customer needs private access to public OSI services, e.g., object storage from a private subnet without public IP usage. Which solution applies? A. Use a NAT gateway. B. Use an internet gateway. C. Implement remote VCN peering. D. Deploy a service gateway. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. A service gateway allows resources in private subnets to access OSI public services privately without public HIPs or internet routing. NAT gateways provide outbound internet access, not private service access. Internet gateways route to the public internet. Remote VCN peering connects different regions, not to public services. Question 18. The most significant aspect of designing a multi-tier web application in OSI with strict security zoning is ensuring that backend databases are not directly accessible from the internet. Which approach is correct? A. Assign public HIPs to all tiers but restrict access with SADS. B. Use a single subnet for all tiers with route table rules. C. Deploy databases in public subnets but close all ports. D. Place databases in private subnets with no internet gateway and controlled NSG rules. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Placing databases in private subnets ensures no direct internet exposure, while NSG rules allow only necessary application tier access. Public HIPs or public subnets increase attack surface even if ports are blocked. A single subnet mixes trust boundaries, weakening isolation. Question 19. During the process of configuring EAM, Lily must grant API access to an external SIG system without creating a long-term user in OSI. Which method is best? A. Create a user with API keys and store keys in SIG. B. Use an auth token generated for an existing EAM user with control permissions. C. Allow anonymous access and rely on network ACLs. D. Use instance principles on SIG build servers hosted outside OSI. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Auth tokens provide secure, revocable access for tools like SIG without requiring password-based logins and can be scoped to minimal permissions. Creating a dedicated user with API keys risks key sprawl. Anonymous access is insecure. Instance principles work only on OSI-hosted compute instances, not external systems. Question 20. Contrary to popular belief, enabling object storage versioning alone does not prevent permanent data loss if a user intentionally deletes all versions. Which feature should be combined with versioning for stronger protection? A. Lifecycle policies. B. Service gateway. C. Retention rules. D. Vault secrets encryption. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Retention rules combined with versioning enforce immutability for a set period, preventing deletion of any version until the retention expires. Lifecycle policies manage object transitions deletions but do not override deletion rights. Service gateways control network access unrelated to data retention. Vault encryption secures keys, not object immutability. Question 21. During the process of migrating a legacy application, JSON must ensure the application can use OSI APIs without storing credentials in its codebase while hosted entirely inside OSI compute. Which approach is optimal? A. Use instance principles with a dynamic group and proper EAM policies. B. Create a dedicated user with API key stored in object storage. C. Use auth tokens for each compute instance. D. Embed user passwords in environment variables. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Instance principles allow OSI-hosted compute instances to directly authenticate with OSI services, eliminating embedded credentials and reducing risk. API keys in object storage risk exposure. Auth tokens are for specific services and not ideal for compute OSI API integration. Embedding passwords in environment variables is insecure and non-compliant. Question 22. From a historical standpoint, an OSI architecture team needs to replicate object data across regions for business continuity. Which feature should they use? A. Object storage versioning. B. Block volume backups. C. Cross-region VCN peering. D. Object storage replication policy. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Object storage replication policies automatically copy objects to a designated bucket in another region, ensuring disaster recovery readiness. Versioning only keeps multiple object versions in the same bucket. Block volume backups are unrelated to object storage. Cross-region VCN peering connects networks, not storage. Question 23. The prevailing attitude toward EM policy design is to limit resource access based on user roles. Which OSI feature directly supports this approach? A. Compartments with retention rules. B. Group-based EM policies granting least privilege. C. Network security groups for each user. D. Multiple internet gateways per role. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Group-based EM policies enforce least privilege by granting specific permissions based on job functions. Retention rules apply to object storage, not in ADS control, network traffic, not in roles. Multiple internet gateways per role is not an OSI concept and does not enforce role-based permissions. Question 24. When presented with a need for a low-latency private connection between an on-premises data center and OSI, which is the best solution? A. Site-to-site VPN. B. Remote VCN peering. C. Fast Connect. D. Service Gateway. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Fast Connect provides a dedicated private connection with higher bandwidth and lower latency. The VPN suitable for demanding workloads. Site-to-site VPN traverses the public internet, increasing latency. Remote VCN peering links host VCNs across regions, not on-premises. Service Gateway enables private access to OSI public services, not on-prem connectivity. Question 25. Across different scenarios, SERA must ensure a private subnet's instances can access OSI object storage without traversing the public internet. Where should she configure? A. Internet gateway with route rules. B. NAT gateway for outbound connections. C. Remote VCN peering to object storage. D. Service gateway with appropriate route rules. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. A service gateway provides private subnet instances with direct access to OSI public services without public IPS or internet routing. Internet gateways send traffic to the public internet. NAT gateways allow outbound internet connections but don't provide private service access. Remote VCN peering connects VCNs not directly to object storage. Question 26. By comparing OSI storage options, a team needs shared file-level access across multiple compute instances in the same subnet. Which service meets this requirement? A. Block volume with ISCSI. B. Object storage standard tier. C. File storage service FSS. D. Autonomous database shared schema. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. File storage service provides an S-based shared file systems for multiple compute instances in the same subnet. Block volumes are attached to a single instance at a time unless configured with complex clustering. Object storage is object-based, not file-based. Autonomous database provides database access, not general file storage. Question 27. Given the circumstances, Liam must prevent accidental deletion of critical objects, but still allow updates to existing objects in OSI. Which feature should he use? A. Retention rules. B. Archive tier storage. C. Object storage versioning. D. Lifecycle policies. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Versioning maintains older copies of objects, allowing recovery from accidental deletion or overwrite while permitting updates. Retention rules enforce immutability, preventing even updates. Archive tier changes storage cost performance, not deletion protection. Lifecycle policies automate archival or deletion based on rules, but don't inherently recover overwritten objects. Question 20. The foundation of OSI compartment design is to logically separate workloads for governance. Which benefit does this primarily provide? A. Independent access control and cost tracking. B. Reduced DNS query latency. C. Faster data replication between regions. D. Automatic fault tolerance. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Compartments provide logical isolation that allows separate EM policies and cost reporting per workload or department. DNS latency is unrelated to compartments. Cross-region replication speed depends on network configuration, not compartment design. Fault tolerance is achieved through regions and availability domains, not compartments. Question 29. A detailed analysis of networking options reveals that A customer needs to connect to VCNs in different regions privately. Which feature enables this? A. Local VCN peering. B. Internet gateway with ACLs. C. Fast connect with NAT gateway. D. Remote VCN peering. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Remote VCN peering connect VCNs across different regions using private ITs. Local VCN peering is for same region connections. Internet gateways route through public internet, not private links. Fast Connect is for on-premises connectivity, and adding NAT gateway doesn't solve inter-region private networking. Question 30. The impact of storing sensitive credentials in application code is significant. Which OSI service directly addresses this by securely storing secrets? A. Object storage with encryption enabled. B. OSI Vault service. C. Autonomous database encryption. D. Security lists. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSI Vault securely stores secrets, keys, and certificates, enabling applications to retrieve them securely without embedding them in code. Object storage encryption protects stored data but is not designed for secret management. Autonomous database encryption secures DB data but not ACK credentials. Security lists control traffic, not secret storage.